everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dance Talk Realness, a podcast where we discuss all nuances concerning education and dance, because the dance experience is an experience worth talking about. I'm your host, Truly B, here with my awesome, as always, co-host, Daryl P. Hey. And today, what are we talking about, sir?
We are talking, yes.
Like, pass the buck.
Pass the buck. Yeah, so today we are talking about just some things that I have noticed in the last week and a half as we have started school in person. And I think obviously before in a lot of our kind of back to school trainings, we talked about learning loss, time lost, and the gaps. And, we talked about that in 2020, 2021, about the learning gaps that they would have. And I was like, well, they only missed like 3 months. Like, I mean, we're kind of wrapping up things at that point anyway. But when I tell you I have a child that can do a beautiful pirouette, but cannot do a kickball change across the floor.
Sorry. Like, excuse me?
I'm just like, what is happening? What is going on? Like, I started to get really pissed off at them because I was just like, y'all, this is just a kickball change. Like, how did we just do pirouettes on the floor? I mean, and not everybody looks great, but like some of them were like looking like, okay, you remember when we did this last year? Mm-hmm. But you can't hit this kickball change across the floor. Like the four walks kickball chain was just like, they're like 4 walks. I'm like, 4 walks and a kickball change. Like, that's it.
Like that, period.
4 steps. And that's it. And I think it's just interesting, like what I have observed now with like, teaching kids for dance for a whole year, having them come back as my dance too. And like starting now to try to like seeing where those gaps really are, right? Mm-hmm. Like the fact that you can do a pirouette, but you can't do a kickball change, or like across the floor things, which because we weren't doing across the floor because they were at their homes, how like that kind of setup is like so foreign and really difficult for them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've seen that in your mm-hmm. classes, just like any students that you had last year that you might have again this year, how like different they are, like mm-hmm. in like their skill set, right? Like they can do this, but they can't do this. But it's like, well, how are you able to do this?
Yeah, let me tell you, same movement. That damn kickball change done took so many people out, and I'm like, y'all, it's just a kickball change. Like,
yeah.
Like we were just working on doubles and triples. What you mean you can't do this kickball change?
Like, yeah.
Like what is life right now? I'm confused.
Yeah.
Literally the same movement. Like as soon as you said it, I'm like, yes. Taking them out of here. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Well, you know what? I feel like a lot of the traveling movements, since people weren't really able to do those.
Yeah.
That's kind of where some of the disconnect is happening. From what I've seen. Yeah. Because like with my class, I didn't have any of them in the session last semester because nobody wanted to take it virtually. Right. Because this is jazz. We want to do across the floor. Like we want to do it for real. Yeah. And so, but some of them I saw perform in like the spring concert. So, and I've seen some older recordings of some of them. So I kind of have a gauge of where they were. Mm-hmm. And you can tell that there's not been growth.
Right.
Like that year, for some of them, it was an actual setback. And for some, it just kind of left them stagnant.
Right.
But it's everything where they're not traveling, like, there's still some people who is not exactly clean, still need some stuff to like correct. Yeah. But the stationary movements are a bit more secure than the traveling. Doing the combination, child.
Yeah.
They be about to die. And I'm like, y'all, this ain't that hard. Like, yes, upbeat, but
yeah,
this isn't that hard. But then it's like, okay, well, you just had like a year and a half of I haven't really been doing this. So I'm like, oh, I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kickball change, though.
That kickball change just took them out. And it's interesting, like I had a student, we were getting stuff set up for our Google Classroom. And I was getting them I was like, put up the code. And for some reason, a student was in class and didn't have the code. And I'm like sitting at my desk working while I'm assuming everybody's working on our journal entry or like our warm up. And I see I have an email and I check the email. A student is sitting in my class and sent me an email.
Sorry. What is happening? Like, you're not going to just ask me the question?
He's not going to come up here and ask me. She was like, hi, I don't have the Google Classroom code. I'm like,
baby.
I called him. I was like, I think I maybe replied to her email and sent it to her because I'm like, look,
I would have responded like, hey, via email, hit send, and then just stared at the kid and be like,
right. You can't come
baby,
up here
I'm right
and
here.
Talk to me. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
5 steps over.
Oh, those 5 steps over to come. But it's like, it's one of those things where I realized the impact that the pandemic and like virtual learning had on them, and like their willingness to speak to each other, their willingness to speak in general, and also just their like their level of their dance abilities and their dance level, I think, is really interesting. But it'll be interesting to see like how they kind of bounce back from that, because I feel like my level 2s or level 1s, right? I mean, I could have just done like another dance 1 and just put all those dance 2 kids in it and just given them a whole nother, my dance 3. Even I even got on them to, like a couple days ago, because we were doing something movement across the floor, and they were like, whoa, go back. And I was like, these are things that we did last year. Remember when you didn't have your cameras on, but yet you said you were working and you were dancing?
Say that. Say that.
Remember that? And they were like, no. They're like, okay, all right, whatever. I was like, we were not dancing. I was like, I know you weren't.
Yeah, I know.
I know you weren't. I know. I see now. And I knew then. I knew then, and I see now. So
how's that working out for you?
Right.
That's why I said have your camera on so I can help you.
Right.
This was why.
This was why. We're moving on. 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's move across the floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like moving forward, and 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1.
Right.
And we're back.
And we're back. Yeah. And they are, yeah.
Oh, bless their hearts.
I know.
Like, man, precious lambs. Yeah, no, it's, yeah, there was, like, I understood that it was stressful for majority of people, and learning like that is not everyone's testimony. I don't like taking virtual dance classes. It's just so many things that can go wrong. So I understood the discomfort that some of the students had. But then also, it's like, and maybe it's because I am on the other end of it, but I'm like, well, common sense says if I want them to help me, they might need to see what I'm doing so they know what I need help with. Like, because if I don't get the help, it's not going to get better. And then for those who, maybe they didn't know that they were going to want to sign up for the next level. Maybe they did. Maybe it was a surprise to them.
Maybe it was a surprise. Yeah, I know.
But shit, if you knew, then baby, cut your camera on, because you wanted as much help as possible to help.
Right.
And you know what? Part of it is we're adults.
Right.
Because even adults don't always do this, but that ability to be able to really look forward and be like, I don't really want to do this, but I know that if I don't do this, that I'm going to suffer later. Let me do it. Like, I hate having my camera on, but also I'm like, if they don't see me at some point, I'm going to get somewhere. And if it's never been fixed, then I'm going to be looking crazy, and I don't want to look crazy in person. So let me just go ahead, have the camera on. Let me go ahead and ask the questions. Let me get that clarity, because later I don't want to have to deal with it. And I'm like, that's not even dance specific. That's like a life situation that is like, yo, you need to be able to look ahead and be like, do I want to do this right now? Not necessarily. But if I do it now, will that save me down the road? If the answer is yes, then just go ahead and take it for the team. And a lot of people, and again, it's the whole fucking pandemic, like, struggle was real. Struggle is still real, to be honest. But it was just such a disconnect with being able, you know what, as I say it, it makes sense. As I get ready to say that out loud, that we really didn't know how to look forward.
Right. No, that is so true. That is the, oh my God.
Yes. It's like, as the sentence was coming out, it was like, oh, and there we go. And there we go. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were going to be able to come back.
Yeah.
And so it's like, shit, when you really don't know, because, like, of course, you never really know what's going to happen, but you can make some educated guesses. Like, you can kind of track where things are probably going to go. We had no idea a year ago if we were even going to be able to see students again.
Yeah.
Like, we did not know what was happening. So to be fair, I do get that. That does make sense. But also, once we got really settled in that virtual learning situation, it was like, okay, but for real, like, follow the instructions, do this thing. Like, I'm telling you, I need you to do X, Y, Z, do that. So I can try to help ease some of the stress off of you. Like, maybe it was more so of trading one stress for another, because I don't know, but I know, like, because I will say even collegiate level, some of them, their whole thing was, oh, well, I don't have it down yet. I don't want everyone looking at me. And I'm like, ain't nobody fucking looking at you. Nobody has it right now. Like, everybody is trying to figure themselves out. Ain't nobody looking at you. Everybody looking at me. I don't want y'all looking at me, and I'm the damn teacher. So I'm like, I don't know what you want me to give you at this point, but everybody is just like doing their best.
Right.
But that sense of discomfort, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the not knowing how to move forward, because I think that really, even I think, is present, like, now, right? Like, what, how, like, filling those gaps and moving them forward. It's almost like, how far back do you go to really start to, like, do I just repeat where I started last year with a lot of these groups and just say, all right, we're just going to go kind of way, way back? Or do I try to, like, you're in dance 3-4, so we're going to treat you like you're dance 3-4, and you're just going to have to catch up. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with the, I don't know. I feel like that just resonated with me, because for the first week of school, and, like, even during training, I was like, why can't I get motivated to do some of this stuff, right? Like, why do I feel like I'm really behind? Like, I just last, like, a couple of days ago, that I finally feel like my room was, like, presentable for, like, and I had received students for, like, almost a week at that point. And I was like, okay, I finally got my room together. And I still feel like I'm trying to get a plan for the year together. But it's like, like, I feel that, like, just not knowing how to move forward. And so therefore that really stifled, like, making plans to even prepare.
Yes.
prepare for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because even outside of, because same, I still be walking in and I'm like, I technically have a plan for these classes. And every day I still be like, what are we doing today, y'all? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And that, like you said, that lack of motivation has been super real this semester. And I know additionally on top of that is we're both in school. And it's just like, I have no desire to do anything. I'd like to just sleep. Like I would like to take naps.
Oh, I would love that.
Watch YouTube, scroll Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't want to do nothing. Like I don't want to help my kids with their homework. I don't want to transport them back and forth to school. I'm like, can y'all call an Uber? Are you too young for that?
You're like, who's the next one to learn how to drive?
Like, can we?
Can we go ahead and speed that up?
What's the youngest you can drive? Are we sure? If you drive real safe, will they notice? Like,
right.
And it's just like that lack of motivation. Because for a little bit, I thought that maybe it was only pertaining to the PhD courses, because after passing that exam, I was like, yo, I do need a break. It has been 3 straight years of write paper study. I need a break. Like I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because even like the last couple weeks leading up to that exam, I was like, yo, I ain't gonna make it. Like I can't do this. And literally, my study partner, she dragged me through that last month. It was just like, nah, but we're finishing this. Like, come on. All right, come on. We're meeting on this day. Make sure every day, because we did 3 and 3. And I was like, I hate this schedule, but that's what got me through. Study 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon or evening.
Yeah.
Every day. And I was like, sis, I don't want to do this no more. And she's like, we're almost done. We're almost done with this. We got to get through this. So I was thinking initially that going into the fall, that this sense of not being motivated was only pertaining to having to really start getting back into that reading and research and writing again. But then when it came time to plan my classes, I was like, I don't want to do this either. I'm like, oh, well, damn. I was like, I'm just not motivated across the board right now. I was like, oh, this is wild. And I don't, like, maybe it's all connected. It probably is. It probably is. But it's just like that. Yeah, that lack of motivation has been serious. When I tell you, I'm so thankful that I didn't organize my Google Drive well enough at all, but I have all of my presentations. And after the first 1 or 2 lectures, I have very clear lecture notes. And I'm like, bitch, thank you. Because yes, that is saving my life right now. Because I'm like, I have no desire to plan anything else, to figure anything else out. I got to figure out choreography for the other class though, because I'm like, oh wait, I actually have to make that. I was like, but do I? And it's like, yeah, child, yeah, you do actually. Like, could you please? Like, don't be out here not doing your job. But it's mind boggling. And so part of me is wondering, I'm like, okay, well, at what point does the switch get flipped again and that motivation come back? Because I was here for it in the spring semester. I was like, you know what? We got this. We're going to do this. And then by the end of the semester, I was like, oh, okay, I'm tired a little bit, but it's all right. It's all right. School took my ass out over the summer. I was done. July 2nd, 11 a.m. I was like, and I'm on vacation. And that vacation was only supposed to be like a few weeks. And it was like, bloop. Months later now. I'm like, oh shit, I need to do this, huh? It's about that time.
Yeah.
And the struggle is so real. Yeah.
Craziness. But hopefully hopefully that motivation comes back. I think as the year progresses and
I hope so.
And as like, they get back into this routine of like coming to school, I can already see what I do enjoy seeing is, I think, is the motivation. And what I think is interesting to what we talked about in our last episode is that I wonder how that will play into those that when you see that potential, I wonder how just having a year of not having it will play into maybe their own decision of like, I know what it's like to not be able to do this. And so now I want to stay in it because I realize like this is something that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
So because I find that a lot of kids that I would have never have thought would like try out for certain things or do certain things are all like swarming for something. And it's interesting because I'm like, I would have never thought you would have been, some of these kids would have been interested in this. But they're just like, no, I want to take this opportunity because they know what it's like to maybe never have that opportunity again.
Yeah, that's a real life check right there.
It is. It is.
Like, oh.
It really is. Yeah.
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 Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. You're like, now that they've had a taste of, well, this is what life can be like when you can have none of the things.
None of the things.
Now it's like, okay, I have the opportunity to do this, to try this. Let me do that. Like, let me take advantage of the opportunity. Yeah. I mean, in theory, I think I also could apply that as soon as this motivation gets back up.
Right. Exactly.
Because at this point, it's just like, this is what I fought to get to. All right. It's like you signed up for it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And then with that idea of having the opportunity, like where I am currently working, I'm like, okay, well, you've given me now the opportunity to do these things. Oh, I'm about to fuck this shit up. Oh, we're about to have a ball. This is about to be crazy. So I guess in that sense, maybe the motivation is coming back a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit when I look at it like that. I definitely had a solid taste of what it's like to not be able to set choreography with students. And I'm like, oh, y'all the opportunity's open. I'm in there like swimwear. Let's go. Like, no take backs. I'm doing this now. Yes. Success. So, makes sense.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Yeah. Actually, gave me a little boost. I needed that.
Good.
I did need that. That was necessary because I've been tired and I need to get this thing together, especially with rehearsal starting. So let me really view it as the opportunity that it is to get me to where it is that I said I want to go. Yeah. I like that. Hey, thank you all for joining us here yet again at Dance Talk Realness. If you have any questions, comments, observations, or anything like that for us, be sure to drop us a line anywhere where you can find us. Be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe across all platforms where we exist. And we look forward to bringing you some fresh new content next week. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.